And speaking of spiders, what did you think of Spider Baby? Nailed it. That's how you do a transition.
Yeah. So I'm just going to go straight into it now.
So did you write notes?
Yeah. So the listeners probably don't know this, but I have a tendency to, when Liam asks me to review something, I like writing a big list of notes.
And I love hearing them.
It just lets the listeners sort of know what was going through my mind at the time of, you know.
Have you ever just watched a child and the way that they just sort of see the world? You just watch that and it's just so different and strange because they're just seeing all these things for the first time, and it's very difficult to like get into that mindset, and they're just full of such wonder and joy and happiness. They've got no worries. They've got zero worries. And I think your notes are a lot like the way I feel when I look at children.
Thanks. Yeah, I guess it is like a window into my mind. I've just read a couple of my notes and I'm like, what am I talking about? I'm having to piece together what I meant.
So I'm excited to hear these notes. I hope you are too, dear listener.
All capitals at the top of the page. I've written Spider Baby notes, which I feel is really useful because that lets me know that these are the Spider Baby notes which we're looking for.
Like a child.
Yep. All in capitals as well, because that's the only way I could differentiate it from a note, and I was worried I'd read it as a note, apparently.
Okay.
Okay. Old school cartoony opening credits.
They are amazing, aren't they?
They're really good. They're really clever. It was my first hint, because just to let everyone know, I hadn't looked into this at all. I didn't look on IMDb. I didn't look up anything about this movie.
Which is, I think, how I recommended you to go into it, like as blind as possible.
I went in totally blind. I was like, I think this is going to be a horror film. Those credits start, and I was like, I feel like I've misjudged, because they are very...
They are delightfully kooky, is how I would describe them.
It's like, it felt like an old... That's why I've written old school cartoony, because it did feel like I was watching the intro to an old school cartoon.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's, really odd. My next note, ironically, Ray Story was the art director, not the story writer. Good little gag there that I wrote down. Quite enjoyed that one. It made me laugh as I was writing it.
Yeah, well done.
Then, opening song is definitely repeating Cannibal Orgy.
Was that an issue?
It sort of, it shoved a splinter into the childlike wonder I was having. Because I was like, I remember I heard it and I was like, I'm sure they just said cannibal. And then they repeat Cannibal Orgy quite a few times. And I was like, oh, so is this a comedy?
Oh, so at this point you're not sure still?
I'm still dude, I struggle with the genre of this movie for most of my notes.
Excellent, okay.
So next I've written, okay, because cannibals make sense. I believe at that point the guy that's narrating the start of the film mentions that there is a cannibal virus.
Yes, okay.
So I was saying that's why they said Cannibal Orgy, because there are clearly cannibals in this movie. Then they have, I've written nice memory fade out, because they have the really old school, what has now become like a classic wavy camera.
Yeah.
Which I guess at this point was probably not overused.
Possibly. I mean, it probably, it's one of those things, isn't it, where it's so ingrained that you can see it and you know what they're trying to do.
Yeah, immediately I'm like, oh, they're fading to a memory. The fact that I'm like, they're fading to a memory. I believe he probably does say, I remember that day.
Yeah.
Then, right, so at this point, you see a postman driving down going down the road on his bike.
Yes.
And he asks a family that you never see again for the entire film, he says, can you tell me where Merry House is? I misheard that, so I've written, did he say Murder House? Because I thought the film was being really blunt with what was going to happen. I was ready to be like, don't go to Murder House, this is a terrible idea. So then I've written in all capitals, oh, Merry House.
Merry House is a lot less ominous sounding.
It's the exact opposite of what I thought they were trying to do.
Yeah. So still at this point, you're fully expecting a comedy with Merry House, surely?
Now at this point, so my next note, Liam, is what is up with the soundtrack? It's all plinky plonks. Is this a horror or a comedy? So there we address the real issue I've got at this point in time, is I don't know what I'm watching.
And it's all plinky plonks from the mouth of babes.
All plinky plonks. It is. It's all plinky plonky, like plinky plonky piano. Whoa, that's a difficult thing to say.
Plinky plonky piano?
Plinky plonky piano. Yeah. Right. So then at this point, we see, so that postman goes to the house and leans in a window and he gets trapped. And one of the girls, Virginia...
Yes.
She murders him. So I've written, ... 1, how did that window trap him? Because let's be honest, it's not a heavy window. It shouldn't have trapped him at all.
Okay.
Right? We've got to just face that fact. That window recurs throughout this film and it is pointless. It's such a shit window. 2, why the fuck did she throw a shitty net on him, seeing as the window was doing such a good job? I got a little bit sarky in the comments there.
Okay.
I think I was still upset about the fact that I wasn't sure what I was watching. 3, I love old school movie attacks. Just a girl swinging knives at thin air and shots of a guy clearly not being stabbed.
Yep.
That's the end of that little section. I just sort of narrated what was happening.
Do you... I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but in your later notes, do you talk more about Virginia?
Oh, yeah, man. I get obsessed with Virginia. Just a little preview for what's going to come. I love Virginia.
Good.
Okay, so my next note is, oh, okay, Ralph is a dog man. This would not be okay nowadays. Because Ralph is very clearly a mentally challenged man.
Do you know who plays Ralph?
I recognise him because I then looked it up on IMDb, but I can't remember who it is.
Sid Haig, who's in a lot of genre movies, and you maybe will know him from the Rob Zombie movies, House of a Thousand Corpses, and The Devil's Rejects, where he plays a clown called Captain Spaulding.
Oh, fair enough. I have not seen them.
I do have a bobblehead of him on my mantelpiece.
Oh,
that you
I know the
probably
one you're
have
talking
seen.
about. Yes, yeah, I do reckon. Man, yeah, I can clearly see that's him. That's insane.
Yeah, it's a good bobblehead.
Yeah, but I was not happy with the way he was being portrayed in this.
As a dog man thing.
No, but at this point, you're not sure what's going on. He climbs out of the car, and the way Virginia's talking to him is very Ralph, oh, woo, 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 Ralph, and you're like, what is happening?
They're a strange family, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah. So this next note, it might hint at what was going through my mind. So I've written down, Beverly Washburn, brackets Elizabeth, was 24 in this movie. Jill Banner, Virginia, was 21. Now, what reason, Liam, could I possibly have had to look up the actress's age in this movie?
Were you, perchance,
Yeah.
attracted to them, but not sure if that was okay?
You have hit the nail on the head. So the next note I've written is a little bit longer than the others, and it's...
Okay.
In all caps, I've written, what the hell, if you are sending a letter saying we are coming to the house and adopting the children, make sure it arrives at least a few days before you do. It would have been just as efficient if they bought the damn letter themselves. Because they send a letter, that guy delivers the letter and gets killed, and then the guy that reads the letter is like, oh, they're coming today. So what's the point? Fucking, they must have sent that letter, waited for the postman to leave, and just got in their car.
I mean, bear in mind, this is like 1960s America.
They knew how time worked.
Yeah, but I imagine the post was a lot slower than it is these days.
So my point is, send it earlier.
Yeah, maybe. It's a fair point.
Yeah. So then I think they at this point they talk about Aunt Martha and Uncle Ned.
Yes.
And I said they're presumably in the late stage of the disease, which the guy says is when you revert to pre-human.
Yeah.
So at this point you haven't seen them, they're just talking about them.
So I think what you see so far is different stages of the disease. So
Yes.
Virginia and Elizabeth, was it?
Yeah.
They're in the very early stages, and then Ralph is a lot more advanced.
Yeah, later on they say that Ralph is on the verge of going to the final stage.
Yes.
Yeah. So then I've written... Well, apparently I've written, I'm hope the cousins get eaten. But I believe I tried to type, I hope the cousins get eaten. Although I'm pretty sure the dude cousin is the narrator from the beginning. He is.
Okay.
So I knew he wasn't going to die, but the lady was really annoying me.
Yes.
Because she does the whole... She's the very obvious, See, this is a weird thing that Spider Baby does, is the people that should be the villains are the Merry family, right? But
Yeah.
I was like, I love these guys. I hope nothing bad happens to them, and I hope the people that are trying to take them away get killed.
And I think that's why the movie works as a bit of an oddity, because it constantly almost defies what you think you should expect from it.
Yeah, the whole time I was like, I seriously, I shouldn't be, on their side. But I was.
Yeah, because they are awesome.
Yeah, and is it Bruno? Yeah, Bruno. Bruno is the sweetest guy. He's the guy that cares for Elizabeth and Virginia.
Who is played by Lon Chaney Jr., I believe.
Yes.
Who horror fans will know as being the Wolfman in the original Universal movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
He's in a few big classic movies.
Yeah.
And his father was obviously Lon Chaney.
Oh, right, yeah.
Who was in Phantom of the Opera, the silent one. Sorry, that's just a bit of film history for you there. Moving on. I think one of the other reasons why the family is so likeable as well,
Yeah.
maybe more so for someone like you than your average viewer, is because you do have those conflicted feelings of attraction to certain family members.
No, well, yes, okay. That might be one of the reasons. I think that's why at the start I was on their side. I think later on... Alright, well, it sort of fluctuates, because later on it's more because I'm like, oh man, they're just all, they seem like a sweet family apart from the murder.
If we could just overlook the murder.
Yeah, which I was doing. I was quite happily ignoring all the murders.
Okay, yeah.
So then, oh yeah, this is another. I've written it down. I also love that everyone just finds this house so easily, because both people we've seen complain about not being able to find it literally just turn left after saying that, and they go, "Oh, there it is."
Again, this is old day America, so
Yeah, but what? So everything was just left.
I'm not sure how accurate their street signs were.
Yeah, fair enough. Right, okay. I've written this note all in caps again. It's when I get annoyed by something. I've written, Is the gate haunted? Why does it open by itself all the time? Because again, with both people we've seen find that gate, the chain has just fallen off.
So you think the gate might be haunted?
Yeah, at this point I was like, are they ghosts? Maybe this is a ghost film as well. Which, later on, they ask if the house is haunted, and the guy says no. And I was like, you are lying, sir. I've seen the chain fall off that gate and scare people. It's haunted.
Okay, fair enough.
The Marys need to learn how to answer doors. Oh, for fuck's sake, don't lean in the window.
Is that window coming back again?
Yeah, she leant in, and then when she comes back out very quickly, the window slams shut.
Oh, haunted.
Yeah, well, exactly. And then I've written, I'm still in all caps at this point. I was clearly very annoyed. What? He is clearly just a man with special needs. Why did she think he was a baboon? Because Ralph scares the lady who is leaning in the window, and then she runs back in fear, which is, again, harsh reaction. He is clearly just a guy with special needs. He's not doing anything to upset her. She runs back to the car, and then she says to her brother, I was attacked by a baboon. Which, I was like, whoa, what?
It's a little bit mean.
I mean, how did she think he was a baboon?
She was probably just scared.
Yeah, but I've been scared before, and I don't just, see animals.
See, I often get confused for looking like a baboon, so I'm not the best person to comment.
Yeah, so you are like Ralph.
I mean, some might say that.
Yeah, I say that.
I prefer to think of myself as more like Virginia.
Yeah, so then I'm gonna just... I think we should zoom through a couple of these, because they all sort of link in together. So I've written, so is Bruno a chauffeur? Who is Mr. Clucker? I don't think I got his name right. Then I've written, oh, he's the lawyer. Then I've written, ha, he called the cars machines. But that's fair, because it's an old film. I feel like you can say machines. Then I've written, Ralph was in the dumbwaiter, because of course he is.
Of course, why wouldn't he be?
They lower the dumbwaiter and Ralph is sitting in it.
Yep.
Okay, I get that Ralph needs help, but how does the lawyer know the girls are crazy? So at this point, the lawyer is saying, we've clearly got a case, we're going to get all the kids.
Yep.
And they were like, because they're all insane. But at this point, Virginia and Elizabeth haven't actually done anything insane to these people.
Okay.
They could easily have just passed at this point for shy girls.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, it's a little bit harsh. Ah, the 60s, before retardation was a bad word.
It was a simpler time.
Yeah, it was. Oh, of course, the old inbreeding turns you into crazy cannibals disease.
Well, I mean, that is something to be aware of, I think.
Yeah, well, exactly. Now, if I ever see people... Game of Thrones has taken on a whole new light for me.
And Norfolk.
Nice. Then I've gone... So, we're about halfway through my notes. The next ones are shorter, though. Everything's shorter from now.
Okay.
This lady needs to get 8.
Needs to get 8?
Yeah, I wrote that. Because I wanted to say et, but I don't know how to spell et.
Oh, okay.
How do you spell et?
E-A-T.
That's eat.
Or et.
Can you say it as et? Fair enough.
I believe it's like there. There's 2 different spellings, but you say it the same.
There's 3 different spellings of there.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, Ralph, please don't eat the cat. ... Damn it, because he eats a cat. Well, he doesn't. He catches a cat. And then I've said, oh, okay, Virginia has pet tarantulas in her drawer. She's very into the spider thing.
Yeah.
So at this point, she's already caught a man, told him she's a spider, and that she's going to sting him, which is when she murders him.
And does that also not make the whole net thing earlier make a bit more sense?
Well, it makes sense, but he was caught in the... just pretend the window's a web.
Nah, the net is her web.
It is her web. She does use it later.
Yes.
Then everyone's talking about the meal, and the guy's like, no, I think it's rabbit. So I've written, it's not rabbit. What fucking rabbit would look like that? Because it really doesn't look like rabbit. It looks like a dead cat.
Okay.
Hint, it is the dead cat.
That Ralph earlier
Yes.
captured.
At this point, I've written sort of gremlin rules going on here. I wonder if they can have baths. Ha! Because Bruno says that if they eat meat, then it will speed up the disease, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, so clearly they're going to have a scene later where they eat meat and they go more insane. That never happens. At no point in this film do they eat meat and go insane. So what's the fucking point? Don't have that scene.
Well, I mean, I guess that might explain why they shouldn't eat meat, and also why it's a cannibal disease as well.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. It just annoyed me that they made it. They sort of felt like they were trying to set something up that just never played through. I don't know if,
But it felt like foreshadowing.
Yes, which foreshadowed nothing.
Okay, that makes sense.
But then I've written their creepy voices actually just sound flirty. LOL. Bruno is an absolute champion. The girl talking about werewolves, and he says there will be a full moon tonight. Because she gets, like, two of the characters are movie fans and are talking about horror films.
Yeah, which is a nice little nod.
Yeah, it is. No, it's good. It's like, oh, yeah, they like... But I love the way Bruno literally just turns to them and goes, oh, there's a full moon tonight. And I was like, wow.
Isn't that also a nice little nod when you also bear in mind that nice little factoid I told you earlier?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then, so here I've written, Peter is going to get laid. Emily is going to get 8. Because I said 8 again.
Okay.
Then someone stamps on a spider, so I've written, fuck, don't kill spiders around Virginia. Which is
she would not like that.
No, she wasn't. She was very upset.
Yep.
Oh, okay. And then, right, so then here I asked, was this film before Psycho? Because you see the skeleton of their father in a bed, and they're doing the whole, like, they're treating him like he's still there. And then I looked it up, and it turns out Psycho was before this film. So I guess they were nodding to Psycho. Is it Psycho that does that?
Yeah, Psycho was 1960, and
Yes.
I believe this is 1967.
Yep.
And yeah, Psycho has that scene with his mother, who's the skeleton, in a chair.
Yes. So I wonder if they were nodding to, like, that sort of idea. I don't know.
No, probably. That makes sense.
Then I've written, whoa, we nearly saw boobs, because you nearly see boobs.
Whose boobs do you nearly see?
Emily, the cousin.
Okay.
She's, like, getting changed. And I was like, I thought that was, I don't know, 1967? I'm not great with old films, so I don't know, like, what they thought was okay at the time. Would this have been around the time that they were like, boobs are okay?
I think so.
I was just worried that we weren't going to see any boobs then.
Well, you don't get to see any boobs, do you?
No, you don't.
Was that a disappointment for you?
No, not at all. I just was wondering if I'd see boobs. Then I've written in all capitals again, boom goes the dynamite, bra shot. Because we see Emily in a bra.
Was that exciting?
Not particularly, I think at the time I thought it was.
Would you have preferred to have seen Virginia in a bra?
Possibly.
Was Virginia your favourite?
Yeah. Yes. I don't know why I said it like that. Really longingly and sad. I feel like she shouldn't be. She's a murderer and a cannibal, but whatever.
Hey, whatever works for you.
Yeah, apparently murderous cannibals who pretend they're spiders. Then I've written, oh, Ralph, you cheeky pervert, because Ralph spies on the lady that's getting changed.
Well, he is a bit of a naughty one.
Right, okay, so then here I've written, I've decided that I'm 100% on Team Mary. I really hope they don't die. Sort of heavily implied they will, though. Because the guy at the beginning's like, yeah, I remember the day we stopped the Mary virus. So I was like, poor Bruno, he's just trying to raise them right. And they love him too. They had a little emotional scene where Bruno's like, I'm just trying to look out for you girls. I promise you.
Is that where they're sort of sat on the doorstep?
Yes, I think so. And then he starts like he's crying.
Yeah, that's a beautiful scene.
Yeah. Right, so I don't mention it, but they've killed the lawyer at this point.
Okay, yeah.
So we've had a whole scene of them killing a lawyer, Bruno being away, Bruno coming back. And then I say, she's been dancing for ages. Because Emily, before these scenes start, is dancing when Ralph stares at her. Yeah. And then they cut to Emily dancing still. Just alone, in her room.
Just loving life.
She's just been dancing for hours.
Yeah.
Why is her lingerie getting more and more sexy? Because they were doing that and it was very upsetting. Because it wasn't Virginia. Okay, this is a long one. But it's a good one. I really like this. Fucking hell. How long have these guys been driving? Also, what the actual fuck are they talking about? And then I've made a note to myself here that I literally paused and rewound to write down what I think they say here.
Okay.
And I'm gonna play it out to you, Leo. I've written it down. I'm gonna say it.
I think inflection's important as well. So if you could say it like how they were saying it.
It's important for the bit I'm saying. Okay.
Okay.
Peter, hey, are you really a wolf fan? A wolf man fan? And then I've written in brackets, Peter pulls the stupidest face ever because he's so proud of the rhyme.
It's the sort of face I'd imagine you'd pull if you got to say something
It's really
like that.
smug. He's so happy that he's made a rhyme, which, whatever floats his boat. And, oh yes, I think that's how every man should be. Like a wild beast. Peter pretends to be a wild beast, but not towards her. She isn't even looking at him. He's super proud of how beast-like he is.
He is a hero.
It's such a weird scene, and I genuinely paused it and rewound and kept pausing to get the words.
Because he is sort of like the main character, isn't he?
I think he's meant to be, but
Yeah. He's the one that's narrating the whole thing, isn't he?
yeah, he is. But like, you never get drawn to him as the main character. They don't try and make you on his side or anything.
No, I think the film is way more sympathetic to the Merry family than any other character.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. So at this point, the film's getting towards wrapping up. Like, I think they've killed. Yeah, no, they haven't killed Emily. They've chased Emily in the woods because she tries to get away, and they're worried people will tell her what they do.
Yeah.
So then they have a scene where Virginia's talking about spiders with Elizabeth, because the whole film sort of implies that Elizabeth like eggs on Virginia to do these things.
Yeah.
Like, it's very clearly like Virginia's like, we shouldn't do something, and Elizabeth's like, well, what would a spider do? And then Virginia's like, yeah, you're right, a spider would stab them. I don't know. But she says at one point, she says spiders shouldn't eat. Oh, because Virginia eats a spider in front of her, and Elizabeth goes, spiders don't eat other spiders. So I've made the note: 1, spiders do eat other spiders, and 2, there is no 2, because I don't know why I wrote it as numbers.
Okay.
And then Elizabeth says they need a plan, and they literally light her face up. I don't know if you remember that. That's a very interesting choice. Like, they've not done this for anything else, but they literally like hold a light up to her face when she has a plan.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's just weird that they haven't done any like practical stuff like that for the rest of the film.
Don't need it.
So it sort of, it didn't drag me out of the film, but it made me very aware that was happening. I was like, what the fuck, why are they shining a light on it?
I really like the relationship between Elizabeth and Virginia. That like sisterhood where they kind of get each other into trouble, but they're also there for each other.
Yeah, exactly. And they have they have all the sort of sisterly, like when Virginia does stuff, Elizabeth goes, "It wasn't me, Bruno," and Bruno's like, "It's alright, girls, don't worry about it." And then Virginia's like, "She made me do it," and you're like, "Oh, okay." They are just
they're brilliant. Yeah. They're wonderful.
They are,
and a little bit sexy in a way that is a kind of wrong.
Sexy. I've written, I love that the girls have no idea how to be normal because they try. The big plan is, we'll act normal, and then they both stand there holding their dresses out to the side, and they're like, "Welcome back, cousin," and you're like, "This is the weirdest shit." Even
brilliant.
Peter at this point starts backing away in fear.
Yeah.
So then I put, "Why is there a random dead bird stuck to the wall?" Because it wasn't like hung up; it was just there. Then I've written, "I would let Virginia tie me up in a web." Winky face.
Oh, because there's... Right, so I think that's one of my favourite scenes that you're referencing there, where Peter's kind of... If I remember rightly, and correct me if I'm wrong,
go for it.
Peter's kind of indulging her a little bit.
Yes, because earlier on in the film he promises to play Spider with her.
Yeah, and it's weirdly erotic in a way that it shouldn't be.
No, because it's not weirdly erotic. It's deliberately erotic.
Okay.
Right, so Virginia's tied him up on a chair, and she starts, like... She's talking to him, and she's doing the sort of weirdly sexual voice.
Yeah.
And she says, do you like Anne, who's the girl that Peter's trying to sleep with?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, yeah. And she's like, do you like me? And Peter's like, yeah, but like not like that. And then Virginia starts, like, running her hands over him and being like, spiders like to play with flies. And you're like, whoa, she's definitely like hitting on him. And then she jumps onto his lap and scoots her skirt up, like in the sort of, like in a really sexual way. It's full on. She is trying to sleep with her cousin.
So how did you feel when you were watching that scene?
I was super sad that I wasn't tied up to the chair. I did then very quickly change my mind because my next note is, well, ... I guess maybe not if she was going to stab me.
Okay. Because you'd be the one that wants to stab her, presumably.
No, I don't want to stab her, Liam. I want to make love to her.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, I don't call it stabbing because I'm a gentleman. Right, and then this is so, like you were saying about the relationship between the two girls. I've written here, there's been a shift in the relationship dynamic between Elizabeth and Virginia, because up to this point, it's always been Elizabeth suggesting they do stuff and then trying to convince Virginia to, like, act it out and kill someone.
Yeah.
But at this point, Virginia asks, like, they're trying to decide what to do, because they've got Anne alive and Peter alive, and they're trying to decide what to do, and Elizabeth doesn't know, she has no plan. So,
okay.
And then she turns to Virginia, and Virginia's like, right. Suddenly Virginia becomes the spider. It was definitely like it was like she became the character that she played when she was being the spider. Because I feel like she's got two distinct things. She's got Virginia and the murdering side.
Yeah.
And it's like she shifts into the murdering side and takes over.
Yeah.
I've written, there's been a shift in the relationship dynamic between Elizabeth and Virginia. Elizabeth was in charge at the start, but now Virginia is in charge. I'm far too hopped up on energy drinks to get it, but I know it means something. And I did, see? I've just explained it there.
Yeah, well done.
Thank you. I've written work WRK, what with a question mark? Ralph has turned Emily into a zombie, or something, I don't really know.
Okay.
So Emily comes running back out of the woods.
Yeah.
And ignores her brother who's tied to a chair.
Right,
I didn't get what was happening. I don't know if she was just trying to kill Ralph.
Right, so, again, you'll have seen it a lot more recently than me, so correct me if I'm wrong, but is there a scene where it's maybe slightly implied that Ralph rapes her?
See,
yeah.
when I saw that scene, there is, but I assumed he'd eaten her, because, cannibals.
Yeah.
But yes, the fact that she then runs out. But then I was like, then she's like, I don't know, because it doesn't feel like she's annoyed, although she is, because I think she plucked his eyes out or something.
Right.
But she's saying it when she runs back in, she's very much, it doesn't sound like she's annoyed, it sounded like she'd been enslaved.
Okay, I don't remember the eye plucking out bit.
I don't know, she does something, she jumps on him and is doing something, and I assumed it was hurting him. Are you implying they maybe carried on having sex?
No, I honestly don't remember it well enough. I just remember there's a weird scene where it's implied that he rapes her.
Yes, no, that's earlier on, and now that you've said it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's what that was doing.
Yeah, okay.
It's just that I'd convinced myself that he had killed her. Right, I think that's what threw me. I thought she was dead and she came running back.
Yeah.
Then at this point you find out Bruno's plan, and I've put, Bruno's going to kill them all, sad face.
It's not the best of plans, is it?
He's going to blow them all up with dynamite.
Yeah.
No, it's a shit plan. And then I said I sort of saw that coming when he went mad, because he has a little breakdown, and I was like, oh, yeah. He's like, I've got a plan, girls, don't worry, it's a toy. And every time anyone says to kids, I've got a plan, it's a toy, it's bad.
Okay.
I've written, ha 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 ha, we got to see Uncle Ned's face, it's ridiculous, the worst fur mask ever, because they clamber out of the basement, and it is literally just a dude wearing a fur mask with two furry horns.
Yeah, it's a little bit odd, that one, isn't he?
It's like they ran out of money at the end of this film and went, shit, we've got to make a scary, this is what would have happened to the girls. And instead, some guy just cut up a bit of carpet and went, wear this?
Okay.
Yeah, that's what that struck me as. Then I was like, Peter is very blasé about the whole thing. That's the end of it. And Peter's like, oh, everything worked out okay. I've got money now. And I was like, your sister died. And you're just not... And 2 cousins you didn't know you had died. And a man died, and a man with very clear mental illness died, and you're just like...
So, wait, for them to all die, did the dynamite plan work?
Yeah, I don't know if you actually see it explode. Peter runs out with Anne, and Bruno, because Bruno's like... Bruno doesn't realise they're still trapped there, and then he's like, you've got to get out, I'm going to blow everything up, and Peter's like, yeah, fair enough, I'll go.
Yeah.
And then, but yeah, I don't know, he's just very calm about it. And then you see they've got a daughter, and then it's really obvious that she's going to be a Mary. And then she walks out into the garden and she looks at the camera and you're like, right, she's a Mary. And then she walks up. She's just really creepy. And I was like, you know what the Marys act like? Why do you not realise she's one?
Did you like that ending?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I don't know why I'm saying it so angrily. I did quite enjoy it.
Yeah, I love the ending. It's just... It's the whole movie is just demented in a really fun way.
Yes, yeah. It's not messed up. It's messed up, but it's comedy messed up.
Yeah, I think the worst is the implied rape.
Yeah, but I hadn't let my mind process that till you told me.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I mean, and then I've just written, oh, she's coming for me, because it looks like she's coming towards the camera. Then it turns out it was a spider, and then I've written final notes. I actually super enjoyed this movie. Wasn't sure I would, but wow, because I really enjoyed the movie.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I didn't think I would. I'm not usually a fan of older films. I don't know. I'm just jaded, because I'm like, oh, why has it not got cool explosions? But no, I really enjoyed it.
That's good. So, are there any themes in it that you'd like to discuss?
Is it okay that I'm sexually attracted to Virginia?
Right, we can totally discuss that. Do you think it's okay that you're sexually attracted to someone who is maybe afflicted by quite a horrible disease?
Okay, so you've twisted it so that I sound really evil, but I prefer to think of it as I wouldn't let that stop me loving who they really were. So if I met a girl and she had, a horrible disease, I wouldn't just turn her away, Liam. I'm not like you. I'm not cruel.
What would you have done if you'd have seen this in the 60s? When it came out, 1967, and you couldn't have just gone on your phone to look up their ages?
I'd have just never, ever said anything.
When you say you find Virginia attractive, this is the real crucial question here.
Okay.
What is it about her that you find attractive?
Okay. I'm trying to think this through, because I don't want to sound insane.
Yeah?
I think it might be because she's insane.
Not because she's kind of a little bit innocent?
No, I think it might be the murder insanity thing. If you were like, here's Virginia the spider, I'd swing towards Virginia the spider.
Oh, okay.
I think that's the weird bit. I think that's the bit that I'm concerned about.
Yeah.
Just to let podcast listeners know, if you are, I don't want to be mean, if you're a murderous, I don't know, if you're a lady that likes to murder, don't find me, because I won't find it attractive in real life. This is a movie.
Whoa!
If they're a murderer, I don't want to be murdered by a murderer.
What if they're super hot?
I don't want them to kill me. If they want to tie me to a chair, well, no, even then I don't really want to be tied to a chair.
Why not?
I'm not a fan of being restricted in that way.
Have you tried it?
What, tied myself to a chair?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, my boss came into work and I was just sellotaped to my chair and I was like, seeing if it's alright.
You just sat there with a raging erection and then you're like, I have not thought this through because I can do nothing about it.
Yep.
Yeah, I personally have never tried the whole bondage thing.
No.
But I'm not going to say I wouldn't find it attractive because I don't know until I do try it.
See, but I know I have super low pain thresholds.
Same.
And I know I hate pain.
Yeah, but being tied down doesn't necessarily mean you're also going to be hurt.
I think that's what I'm scared of. I'm scared that they would just hurt me. Like, it would be very easy to say to someone, no, I just want to tie you up. I don't want to hurt you. And then to hurt me. I don't want that.
Yeah, but this is why you need to find someone that you trust.
I don't want anyone to tie me up. Why is this turned into... How do you do this?
Do what?
It's like you have a superpower to turn what I'm saying and turn it into... Like, you take what I say, which is fair enough weird, and then you, like, boil it down, but then you still manage to make it weird enough that you can treat it like you're trying to help me. So you're like, yeah, we can find a girl to tie you down, and I don't want that. I've started with I don't want that.
Alright, so the takeaway then is you're not a fan of the whole tying down thing.
I mean, the takeaway is I enjoyed the film Spider Baby, That's sort of what we're talking about right now.
No. We're now talking about you and potentially someone like Virginia potentially someone like Spider Virginia.
Because the real thing is, in real life, I wouldn't like it at all.
But in a movie, it's okay.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like, in real life, it would just put me off. I'd be like, this is really uncomfortable. I'm terrible in social situations. I'd be like, I don't know what to say to this person who's telling me they want to be a spider. I just don't get it.
It's the sort of thing that if you ever come face to face with in real life, like let's say you're out at a social event and there's a lady and she approaches you and somehow you get onto the topic of her wanting to be like a spider.
Yeah.
I could not wait for that week's catching up with Jack and Liam.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, Liam, I was at a party and I went to put my coat in one of the rooms and there was just a girl in the corner and she...
threw a net at you. Next thing you knew, you had one ear less.
She shut me in a window. And I swear that window was light, but when she put me in that window, I could not get out.
It was a ghost window. So, with Spider Baby, out of 5?
4.
A solid 4.
I'm tempted to go 4.5.
Ooh. That's a high rating.
But I don't know if that's too high. Will I ever watch Spider Baby again? No. So maybe 4. I think I give it 4.
Solid 4.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
It's really good for the time. I didn't think I'd enjoy it, and I came out really enjoying that film. I thought it was really good. Yeah.
I'm pleased.
Yeah, good suggestion.
Thank you very much. Let's hope our next suggestions are, for you, better, and for me, as good.
Oh, man. I feel like it's not me trying to give you a film that's better.
Well, let's tease our listeners as well. So... do you want to explain what we're doing with the next episode?
So, the episode we'll be doing after this one is going to be happening like right before Christmas. It'll be our last episode before Christmas. So it'll be our Christmassy episode.
We'll be releasing it a week or two before Christmas, I think.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right. So that means that this week we've both picked Christmassy themed items for the other person to watch.
So
I say watch because we know their movies.
What have you picked for me?
You have apparently never seen The Santa Claus.
No, I haven't.
Spelt with an E at the end.
Who's in it?
What's his face? Tim Allen.
Yep, I've never seen that.
Yeah, I can't believe you haven't. Now, I don't know if it's going to be good. I remember enjoying it as a kid.
Okay.
So hopefully it holds up. But do you know what, Liam? It's really hard to find a Christmas movie you haven't seen that's good.
There's loads.
That you haven't seen.
Yeah, there's probably loads.
There's not.
I reckon if you actually did a bit of research, you'd find some.
Oh, really? Because I IMDb'd the top 50 Christmas movies of all time. And I guarantee you've seen most of them.
I guarantee I haven't.
The Santa Claus was the highest one that I think you wouldn't have seen.
Yeah, but maybe you don't want to go for the top ones. Like, I'm pretty sure the movie I'm going to recommend you would not be on the top 50 IMDb Christmas movies.
Yeah, maybe.
So, for you,
Yep.
we're going to stick with the offbeat cult type theme.
Cool.
A little bit more horror this time, I think, with a wonderful festive movie called Christmas Evil.
Nice. Okay. Looking forward to it. That sounds interesting.
I think even if you don't enjoy it, you'll have plenty of notes about it.
Yeah? Is there boobs in it then?
You'll have to watch it to find out. So, what are your final thoughts this week, Jack?
Boobs. They're pretty good. Spiders. Spiders and boobs. Boob spiders.
Oh, that sounds horrible.
Yeah, I'm scared of spiders. I don't know why.
As someone who loves boobs but hates spiders, the thought of
I love that you mixed that up.
yeah, that's not
As
good.
someone that loves spiders but is terrified of boobs.
Hate boobs. Give me a cock any day. Anyway, so as someone who hates spiders but loves boobs, the thought of putting those two together is horrifying.
Yep, that's a fair point. What are your final thoughts, Liam?
Despite the fact that we got their product name wrong, I still would really like Fleshlight to sponsor us.
You dick. Beep. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Nerd on Nerd. If you want to get hold of us, you can contact us on Twitter at NerdOnNerd, by email at nerdonnerd@gmail.com. If you want more of us, we might be doing a couple of blabs in the future. So if you want details on that, check our Twitter. Bye!
Bye!